Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to clean your air filter. There are many different ways to do it, and I'm going to tell you how often you should clean your air filter. So right off the bat, how often you should clean your air filter? After every race, after every ride on the weekends. If you are riding through a lot of sand and dust and stuff, I would recommend cleaning your air filter after that day of riding. Always clean your air filter. This is what keeps all the dirt out of your engine. Now they offer cleaning kits for your air filters. I recommend you get that and clean your air filter with that. I do it the gas method because I'm old school and it's a lot cheaper. Saves me a bunch of money on maintenance too, rather than spending 35 bucks for an air filter kit every month or every other month. Instead I just buy the fabric oil spray and that's it. That's all I have to buy. And I guess gas isn't very cheap anymore, so this is an expensive bucket of gas. A lot of people are against the gas because they say it ruins the air filter. Yes, it does, but it doesn't do it immediately. It takes it a long period of time. And, I mean, you can't see air through the air filter, and I use the Uni twin stage air filters. Very great air filters, and they last forever. Even with me doing this method, I had an air filter make it 5 years before I replaced it, and it was just recently when I did the build on the 250 that I replaced it. So right off the bat, showing you the gas method. If you have one of those cleaner kits, you're just going to be using the cleaner and a sink full of soapy water. So what you're going to do is just dunk your air filter in your gas bucket. I have multiple of them. Of course, you're going to want the cage out of the air filter. If you can separate your dual stage air filter, do that as well. But just a couple dunks and a squeeze here and there. Really wring it out because gas is expensive. And then, so now move on to the next one. Little guy here, just a little bit of air filter oil on him. So when I put the air filter oil on, he only needs a single little dunk. Really wring him out. And last but not least, the 450's air filter. And it just takes the oil right off. I mean, it might take a couple dunks, but bam, the oil comes right off. Now after this, I go inside and wash them with soap and water. I use Dawn dish soap. I just prefer it, especially for cleaning around the house too. It's really good, and for this. So, but before I go in there, I really wing the filters and try and knock out as much gas as I can. That way my house doesn't stink like fucking gas, even though I don't really care if it does or not. So I'm gonna go wash these in the sink with some soap and water, and I'll be right back. Just rinse soap and water, washed them, flung them really good, got most of the water out. At this point, you can just leave your air filter sitting on your bars or your workbench or whatever and let them just dry overnight, naturally just dry overnight. But if you're in a hurry, you can always use compressed air and just blow them out really good. I do not use a hair dryer. You will melt the foam. So don't do that, please. Save yourself an air filter. If you don't want to take them inside and wash them in a sink, of course, you could always do a bucket of soap and water out in your garage. As for your gas bucket, if this is what you're going to be doing, make sure you poke some holes in it. You know, just a couple with a screwdriver or a drill or what have you. And just make sure you store it away from, you know, anything potentially that could put some sparks on it, anything hot, anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit these with compressed air just so I can finish this video and, you know, put the oil on the filter and show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to go do this off to the side. I'll be back because this gets really noisy. Got the air filters blown out. You want to get all the water out of it as possible. That way the oil actually sticks to the filter and doesn't just beat off the water. Now there's two different styles of oil you can use. You can use the bucket of oil, which I really recommend. It is like the most efficient way to oil your filter, and it's cheaper. But the second one is aerosol, which is what I use because it's just too damn convenient. Way too convenient. And since I save so much money on cleaner, I can afford to use this. So now, before you put your oil on your filter, you're going to be installing your filter onto its cage. Really, there's no wrong way to do this other than to put it on incorrectly. So what I do is I just take the little rubber part and I get it started by putting it on the cage itself. I already have the tabs lined up that go onto the cage. I'm going to try and keep this up here. And really, like I said, there's no wrong way to do this. You just have to make sure your foam lip comes up and over your cage and, you know, rests on that. And then if you're somewhat misaligned, you can just give your guy a little twist here. Make sure he stays on though. Give your guy a little twist there and get your tabs lined up like that. And then you're just gonna loop them onto your tabs if you have tabs. You might have like the pin style, which I'm going to show you with this air filter. That one's installed on and ready. So this is the dual stage. I mean, you could put this guy in your pre-filter first and then put it on this. I mean, like I said, there's no wrong way to do this. I just do it this way. And I don't put the little rubber deal on him first yet. Not until I get it on. And then loop him into that pin style and set him in place. And then your pre-filter, of course, goes on top of it. And the entire time you are doing this, which I should have mentioned earlier, you are inspecting your air filter for tears, little holes, anything like that. Anything like that, you need to replace your air filter. And then I just put him on his little deal. Ta-da. And loop him on there. Bam. Now it's time to put on the oil, which I am also going to do outside because I don't want this stuff on my garage floor because I'll track it in the house, and I don't want it on my boxes or any projects or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is, you know, of course, shake it up, and I'm going to put a layer on the inside of this where the seal is going to be at in your air box, and then just really lather this guy up. I'll be back to show you. Got it all nice and covered up. I don't get really heavy with mine because I clean mine often. But after you get the oil on, you're just going to rub it into the oil filter, or the air filter. Make sure it's nice and in there. You don't have to be rough. You're just going to give her a nice gentle rub. That's it. So there you go. Make sure you oiled out the sealing edge as well. Another thing I should have mentioned earlier too is if your cage is really nasty, oily, dirty, you can also dump that in your bucket of gas and go and rinse it off in the soapy water sink. But all in all, that's it. It's install back on the bike. Fucking go rip and tear, bud. Good job. Clean your air filter. Cheers.